Welcome to the NSI podcast, where technology, innovation, and strategy come together to empower today's IT leaders. I am your co-host, Cassie Dinsmore. Today, we have a fun twist to the podcast with a blind bourbon tasting with Jana Branham, CIO of Ergon. We discuss how Ergon stays on top of cybersecurity and also how Ergon gives back to the community. Businesses that prioritize social responsibility make a real difference in their communities. So now let's get into the tasting. The list of the tastings are in the show notes.
Today we've got one of our good friends, Jana Branham. And I just want to make sure, did I say that right, Branham?
Yep, you got it right.
Every once in a while I get something right on the first try. But she's the Executive Vice President and Chief Information Officer of Ergon in Jackson, Mississippi. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me. This is going to be a fun time today, I think.
Yeah. So this one is this episode's going to be a little bit different than some of the episodes we've done in the past. And this one we're doing a blind bourbon tasting, in which Jana and I are going to try to figure out what bourbons we're tasting. And Cassie is going to tell us how off or how on we are. So we'll see how we're doing. And we're going to take our first bottle, and this is our first tasting.
Okay.
And I don't know what this is, but I believe it is some type of bourbon. Cassie, do you have any hints for us, or any type of information?
It's a 15-year-old and 8-year-old barrel mix aged.
Okay.
And it's 86 proof.
86 proof. Ooh, that one's barely legal, huh? So.
And the mash bill is 74% corn, 18% rye, and 8% malted barley. And the batch size is 50 barrels a time. I guess they do.
Yeah. Okay. The legs on that.
Got a little burn on the back when you first put it in your mouth. Oh, she's coughing.
You know, I'm not a bourbon drinker, so.
But you're trying. That's great. I don't know if I can guess it. I taste some caramel in it. It's got a little hot, so I'm assuming there's I don't know the percent. You said, did you say some rye in the mash bill?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
I'm getting honey. I go with the caramel, some honey in there. It's a little bit lighter too.
Didn't burn the second taste. You know, they always taught us take 3 tastes.
Yeah.
I'm not a bourbon girl, but that's pretty good.
It's not bad.
I think we came out strong on the first one.
All right, so Cassie, do we just tell you what we think it is?
That'll be good. I'm on the website, and the tasting notes are. I didn't taste this, but smooth accents of banana bread and light brown sugar mix.
I get the light brown sugar. I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that with you said honey.
Yeah.
All right, y'all want to guess?
I can guess. Is it Nolu? Is that right? Is that one of them? Nolu?
Oh, is that the one that's right there in Jackson?
Nulu. Nulu. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know.
I'm gonna guess. It's familiar. Is it that Calumet? Maybe Calumet.
Look at you, Rick.
She's doing her head.
Did I get it?
Calumet.
You got it.
Oh, are you serious? I got it. Well,
nice.
I'm feeling good about myself. So our CFO, I should have known because our CFO bought me a bottle of that.
So you had tasted it before.
So I've tasted that one before. So, okay. And our CFO is the one who did. Now he's the big bourbon guy. But he went and did all the picks for us. So,
well, it's a good one.
Well,
Look at
boy,
you.
I'm feeling proud of myself today.
Yeah.
Hot dog. Okay, let's go. All right. So IBM, Austin, PA to IBM, ACH Food Companies, Ergon.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me the story of how you go from, I think your background's in business scholastically, and
Yep.
how do you go from that to the CIO of a multi-billion-dollar company?
Oh, it's funny because people will ask me and I go, no, I didn't take computer science. I took a business degree, and I call my first real job was with IBM. I just actually walked in there one day trying to sell printers and copiers and fax machines, and they had an office with a lady as a receptionist, and I said, hey, can I get an application? You don't even do that anymore, but can I get an application? I got it. I brought it back. They interviewed me and they said, we're going to hire 2 college students, but we really like you, so we're going to get a hire ticket. So that began my path into IT. I'm on the sales side, of course, and I'm learning technically. But once I was there, I loved it so much. And I said, I want to grow my skills until one of my customers hired me. And that's what happened, because I want to be on the other side, and I want to run the computer environment and the system and everything. And so that's what happened in Knoxville. One of my customers hired me away from IBM. I was with them about 6 years. And then we ended up my husband was also at IBM, and we ended up in Memphis, and he was working for IBM. He was calling on International Paper.
Yeah.
And they said, hey, my wife happens to be an AS400 systems engineer. And they went, really? And he slid my resume across the table, and they hired me. And so I really started doing for them what I had been doing for IBM, which is installing, upgrading all of their AS400s. And I guess when I think about the path, you can look at the different companies I worked at. I felt like I had a ticket to get punched. And so I zigzagged my way up, to the CIO role. The thing about International Paper that was nice, it's so large that you can move from one department to another department, one area to another area, and do something totally different. And I did that for like 11 years. And so and then I went to work at Hilton, and that was a lot of companies were trying to hire me, and I would say, no, it's got to be worth my while. It's got to be worth what I want to put on my resume. What do I need that I don't have or that I want? Well, telecommunications is something that I couldn't get into in International Paper. And so when I went into that role, I was responsible for all of their high-speed internet in being implemented in all their hotel rooms, because they wanted it to be the number 1 or number 2 amenity in the hotel industry at the time. And so my job was to implement that across all their hotels. So that really got my punch for telecommunications. Even though I never got my hands on the keyboard, I was responsible for all of the moving parts to get it implemented within the hotels. And then from there, my next job at ACH, when I went into that role, it was an infrastructure role, which I had done, most of my career. But the idea was it's a path to be the CIO, because they're looking for somebody that could replace them in, 4 or 5 years. And so when I went in there, I knew that was a possibility, but I still had to prove myself. And so I became CIO at ACH Food Companies. And then when the company decided to close down that office and move that particular location to Chicago, and I just did not want to do that. That was just not me. I'm a Southern girl, and I didn't want to be up in the commute in the snow and all that. Right. So I said no, and I started looking, and I had several opportunities in Memphis, but I decided if I really wanted to leave, because we've been in Memphis now 21 years, and I really wanted to leave the area. So the opportunity popped up at Ergon, and I went and interviewed for it. It's really funny, because the first time I got the call, this was from a headhunter, and they told me about the role, and I said, yeah, I'm interested. And then I went and researched on Jackson, Mississippi, and I called them back the next day. I said, no, take my name out. Do not. And then about a month, 2 months later, I got a call from another headhunter who had grown up in the area. And once they told me about the area, I said, well, this is like Memphis. I don't sell
Right.
Memphis, I sell around Memphis when I'm
Yeah.
recruiting someone to come in. So I said, yeah, okay, you can present me. And it was just a magical fit for that company, what they were looking for and what I had to offer. And it's been awesome. I'll be there 8 years next month.
Very cool.
CIO. Yeah, second job as CIO. So it's been awesome. Great company to work for.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's so of course I live in Arkansas, and you know, I remember the first time, and I started with HP, and I got the territory of having Arkansas and Mississippi and Louisiana. And I remember first time going through Jackson, I'm like, I don't know if I could ever just do this. But you know, after a while, you know, a couple more trips down there, and like you said, like the surrounding area there's really nice.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up like, man, I love coming down here. So
yeah,
I just wish there was a more direct path from like the Little Rock area to the Jackson.
Oh, I bet. Yeah, for you.
It's
yeah, I tell people I only came through when I'd be on my way to the beach. We just drove through, and I didn't know anything about it. But now I tell people it's a best kept secret. It's just a great place to live, and a lot of people just don't know anything about it.
Well, so I've met you on a couple different things. I know, like the IT Symposium, and on some boards, and you do a lot of philanthropic work.
Yeah.
So my big question is, and people ask me this question sometimes too, but you know, how do you keep a good professional and private work-life balance?
I guess we don't do that much outside of work. I work, and then I'm home with my husband, and we're empty nesters, of course, now. But I look for things at work that I can do to give back in representation of Ergon. And they allow us to give back in so many ways. You know, I lead the Toys for Tots every year. Mm-hmm. I brought this into the company because it's something we did at ACH Food Companies. And first it was just IT doing it. And we'd say, hey, if anybody wants to donate, we'll go shop for you if you want to give us some money. And then when COVID hit, the company said, we can't even do a Christmas luncheon. Is there anything anybody can think of we can do? And I said, why don't we make Toys for Tots bigger? So now it is every location in the Flowood, Jackson area participates in it, and it's gotten bigger and bigger. And so we're one of their biggest contributors to it in our area now. And it's really appreciative. I think it served 15,000 children this year for the Toys for Tots. Yeah.
Wow.
I saw that. I also saw you did, I think you were doing a food drive for one of the,
We Will Go. Yeah, what the company did is they decided to give us, they give departments money. You get so much money for everybody in your department, and you can decide who you want to give to. Mm-hmm. So we pick different charities that we give to, and that's one that we did. We went and shopped for the food and we shopped at like Sam's, and then we took it over and donated it to them. And they have different ways you can give. I mean, you can go help sort food. You can help give the food out to the people. And it's really people that are in need. They could be homeless people, but necessarily it might not be that. It could be somebody who's raising children, their grandparents, they just don't have a lot, because they can come there and get a whole week's meal for the family and kind of thing. So I thought that was a really good give back. And
yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
A lot of people forget, you know, it's like childhood child hunger is one of those kind of, there's not a lot of analysis on that. So it kind of goes under the radar. And so programs like that are huge for helping out families. I know that because I've done some food banks, you know, helped some food banks in the past myself. And so when I saw that, I connected. I was like, man, that's cool. So
and we just have there's a lot of opportunities to give back. And they might, somebody else, another department might be doing something. They'll say, does anybody want to come? And so some of our team will just say, hey, I'm going to go. Another thing we gave back to was shower power. So the homeless people don't have a place to take a bath, or they can come. There's this traveling van, and they can go in and shower, and then they can get some clothes, they can get some food and things like that. That's part of the building where it comes to. And that's something we've also given back to, because that's something that I think is a great need for the people
Yeah.
that are homeless.
I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
So that's a cool one. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going through and being successful, it's usually, at least what I've found in my life, I've had a lot of people who fed into me. I've had some really good mentors. I would imagine you've had some mentors in your life that have kind of helped you along the way. What's the best advice that a mentor has given you in your professional career?
I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, because I have had a lot of mentors. I've learned stuff from bad bosses too, believe me.
Hey, I get it.
I mean, so I guess just thinking about the way that I interact with people, and because I can be very strong, I know what I want, I know how I want it. So understanding how I deliver that message, because the key to leadership is having people follow you. And if no one will follow you, you're not going to be a very good leader. So I always try to pay attention to the way that I'm delivering my message, because I usually tell people sometimes, hey, I'm not mad at you, I'm mad at the situation. So let's talk about what's going on so we can resolve it together. And, I might be kind of short in my delivery, but I think that's been a real strong thing that I have to constantly remember, to be a good leader and to interact with people and communicate well.
Yeah, that's a good point. I get that. Sometimes people tell me I have a aggressive manner about me every once in a while. But listening to people, because like you said, you can't be an army of one, right? You don't get very far.
Not at all.
So getting people on board is very key to being a leader. I think now it's time to try number 2, if you're ready.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get the second bottle. I'm excited. All right. I've got my handy dandy Glencairn here. All right. Cassie, these are amazing kits. Thank you for doing this. All right.
It snuck up on me. I was like, oh
And you
goodness, I
can,
have to get this out.
and you can legally mail these to Mississippi because they're little. They're little bottles. They're not a full size.
Sounds good. Ooh, that's a little spicier to me.
I think I like the last one better.
This one is a little stronger. It goes in the nose.
It is 93 proof. Finish in PX sherry casks.
Sherry casks?
Yes. I knew I'd probably say that wrong.
I'm going to guess Rabbit Hole, Dareringer.
Is that the red label?
I don't know what color the
label is. Maroon Rabbit Hole?
You got it.
Oh, good job. Nice.
When you said sherry cask, I'm like,
I knew that would give it away.
Good job. That is good. Yeah.
This is so Extra Table does a bourbon festival every year, and they did the Rabbit Hole collection. There's a VIP tasting. So they did the Rabbit Hole collection, and we tasted like 5 different ones, and that's our favorite. It just tastes so nice.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that. Oh, you got the whole collection, didn't you?
Yeah.
He said it was the better deal to get the whole collection.
Oh, of course. Yes.
But he was only happy with that one.
If you buy 7 of these, it's a better deal.
But I think the Derringer is the best one. I mean, there might have been one other one we liked when we did that tasting, but anyway, yeah.
No, it's good.
I can't remember which one he said of these was not good. I wish I would have I wish I could have just sent them all just so you could taste.
Oh, I don't want to hit the one that's not good though. But this is good. I like it. It definitely has a stronger taste. I was about to say, like, almost a wine taste or something, but I guess that's the sherry because I could taste that.
Yeah, it's got a sweet finish.
It does have a little bit of a sweet
Is
finish.
Calumet the other one we have? Yeah, we have another one that was given to us as a gift. We've not opened it yet. Calumet is out of Ocean Springs, and it also has a sherry cask. We haven't had any yet, but so I'm looking forward to tasting that.
I don't know that I've been down there. I mean, do they?
He was at the Bourbon Festival, so that's how we met him. And he started in Ocean Springs, and then started, this brand. It's really a nice bourbon, Calumet. That's good.
It is good. I like that one. Cleanse my palate out a little bit. Man. Well, we're 1 for 1, Cass, or we're 2 for 2, Cassie.
Yeah, we're doing good.
I'm already struggling to count. Hold on. Wait a minute. All right. So I'm going to ask you a couple. I want to talk a little bit about leadership. And so this is something that's kind of near and dear to my heart. But how do you build and how do you go about individually building a culture of excellence for large teams?
I think one of the things that I have been very fortunate with is when I told you that my company up in Memphis was leaving to go to Chicago, I had several people that were like me and they did not want to go to Chicago either. So they were also available to come with, and I brought 3 people with me. Now, they said yes to me and they said yes to Mississippi, and they were living in Memphis. And so to me, I think it's a great thing that they're saying yes to me. They followed me because I asked them, do you want to come? Or they were asking me, take me where you go. And I think that's a great sign of leadership myself, because they could have stayed up there easily in Memphis and found another job.
Right.
But they uprooted and came to Mississippi, and they're still here, loved it. One's retired, but I still have 2 people with me.
Okay.
And so, building the leadership is, again, you surround yourself with good people. I can't do it all. I have an idea and I have a vision, but if I can't communicate that vision to the person who can carry it out, then I haven't done a good job. If I'm the only one that knows what I want, then they're not going to be successful, right? They will always fall short if I can't communicate my vision. So that to me is very key. And so communicate well, get the people to follow me, understand what I like, and then they go forward and they deliver on that. And then I check in with them. I'm not a micromanager in any way. I just check in and see where we're going. I mean, some people need more than others if they're new to working with me. It's funny. One guy that's worked with me, I've got 2 guys that worked with me since 2010, but one of them says, I speak Jana. So usually he'll help somebody else understand how to speak Jana so they can come along faster in, working for me. But I think that's good. I mean, we have a good IT family. We have an IT culture within Ergon. Ergon has its own culture, and we do a lot of fun things. That I think people enjoy, because I'm trying to make work fun because we spend so much time there. And like I said, we do May the 4th, we do Pi Day, we have Christmas, real fun Christmas things that we do, and everybody just loves it. They look forward to it. So we have a lot of fun camaraderie, and I think that's important.
Good. Yeah. I agree. We kind of one of the cool things that you have there is I think everybody's there, and it's kind of post pandemic. So so
we're fully back, but I do have a lot of remote people, and typically the remote people are specific in, like, say, SAP, because they're not here in Mississippi, because there's only us in the state that have any SAP at all. And so I don't find those people readily, but I would say out of, I don't know, 65 people, 22 are remote. So I still have to deal with a little bit of remote workers. But again, we know when that's working well, because they establish their own community. And you have to manage on the deliverables if they're getting done what they're supposed to get done, and knowing how long things take and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But we are fully back in the office.
We, I think even pre-pandemic, at least for our company, we were well over 70% remote because, we do a lot of work with the DoD and we have a lot of different like cybersecurity specialty folks. And so again, having those people with the right kind of clearances and the right kind of talent and skill sets and certifications, again, you don't always find them all in the same place, right? Like Jackson, but we had quite a few. So like when the pandemic hit us, it didn't really hurt. Now the weird thing that we have is most everybody is remote. We've stayed remote, but we're a lot smaller. I mean, we're a small company, but we found that part challenging, and that is one of the things that we do miss about not being able to have the whole company kind of get together. I think we do a crawfish boil once a year, right, Cassie?
Yeah.
And the not being able to do that, there's definitely some drawbacks to that from being able to have some of that camaraderie, but do the best we can. Things like this, doing just fun tastings and lunches and things remotely. You have to start getting a little creative, but so this was something that was brought up to me by a friend of mine. He's in higher ed, and he'd always been in higher ed, and he'd been was an engineer, went up through the ranks, and a lot of CIOs that I know, they kind of come up through the ranks from the engineering side, but they're smart. They exhibit leadership potential, and that's how they get to where they are. But some of the things that they struggle with is the interdepartmental relationships and communications, right? And so and this seems like something that maybe just from some of the people that I've talked to at Ergon, you do a little better than most. How do you, having come from an engineering background professionally, how do you become politically savvy in being able to work with the other departments?
I think one thing that I would say with Ergon, when I came in, they set me up with, I call buddies. I wouldn't call them mentors, but they were basically to help me not step in landmines. They wanted me to be successful. And so if I had something that I needed to do, I could go talk to one or two or three of these people and say, hey, this is my issue. This is what I want to do. I'm going to go talk to these couple of people. And they say, okay, let me give you a heads up on this, and this about this person, or this is some backstory that you need to know. Oh, okay. That helps me. And had they not done that, I would have been trudging through on my own, and I might have stepped in landmines that would have caused me to set me back. And the other thing I have found in this company is there's not any agendas. If I need help, I ask a peer and they help me. And I really think that's refreshing because this is the first time I've ever experienced that. But it's important because we're to work with as many people as I can, because we have a lot of different companies under Ergon Inc. and they're different. And so each of them have different needs. And we are a shared service, IT, as well as accounting, as well as corporate maintenance, environmental health and safety, finance. We all serve all the businesses. So it's important that we are working with the different business heads and their next down to make sure we understand what they need, so that we can serve their needs and not think only, this is an IT thing. No, I need to know what they need so I can help, deliver on their processes. And I'm a social person. I'm probably more unlike a true techie that's more maybe introverted.
Sure.
I remember working at one company and they said, you should be in sales. And I go, well, I have been in sales, just technical sales.
Right.
So anyway, I think it is really important to make sure that you're touching base. And I try to make that part of what I do every quarter at least, or throughout that quarter. I'm reaching in and saying, hey, doing a check-in. How are we doing? Anything going on that you need to know about? please let me know because I want them to follow the normal cow paths in the field. Hey, here's how you get help from the help desk. You don't have to call Jana. You call this number. But if you're having an issue, let me know, because if it's broke and I don't know about it, I can't fix it.
Right. That's good advice. Yeah, we I'm kind of like you. I started out in especially scholastically in software engineering, computer information systems, and but I'm kind of a yapper if you can't tell, and they kind of kick me out. They're like, you're gonna have to. I always had that. They're like, man, you would be really good at sales. I'm like, oh, okay. And then I got into it, and all my engineering friends like, yeah, it's probably best that you left that anyway. So you talk so much, it's a lot. But
well, the thing that I think that I've tried to do is just like I said earlier, I used that example of telecommunications. I never put my hands on the keyboard over in the telecom space, but I understood it, the part that was needed in between these systems to communicate with networking. So I understand it enough that I can speak to the technical person and I can speak to the non-technical person, the board.
Right.
And I think that's very, very important to be able to understand the parts. And sometimes I have to net it out more simplified for the board to understand it. And sometimes I'm telling that to my team. I said, look, forget what the name of the tool is. Forget the acronym or the buzzword. Give me the black box word so I can explain it to the person over here that doesn't really care about all the bits and the bytes, or, the proper name of the technology that we're using for whatever. Spam filtering is an example. I don't need to know that name. Just tell me what spam filtering is doing so they can understand it. Net it out. I have to do that a lot.
Yeah. What's funny, and you really teed up and kind of answered, because my next question was going to be, how do you justify IT investments to people who are not technical, right? I think that's a lot of it. It's like, how do I explain something to someone who's not technical? And a lot of times it's well, what's the outcome going to be, right? Like, how do we explain the outcome of what this is? And like you said, I don't care about name brands. I don't care about acronyms or anything like that, because guess what? They're going to get lost. Like you said, the board's going to get lost.
I think you just start with the problem. What's the problem that we're trying to solve? And what is the risk if we don't do anything about it? What's the risk to us?
Yeah, that's good.
In general. And I mean, the thing that started talking about IT in the boardroom is cybersecurity. It really was getting hacked, or the risk of getting hacked, and that kind of thing. So that's the first thing they're talking about. Now they're talking about AI. They're asking me, Jana, what are we doing with AI? What are we doing with AI? And it's some of it's already embedded, and they've just relabeled the word. We've been doing things like it for years, but they've relabeled the word, and everything's being called AI now. But I think it is. I think if you start with the problem and explain to them what we're doing, sometimes they're bringing it to me. They're asking me questions, and it's usually around security, but not always.
Yep. Yeah, we get AI has been on the tip of everyone's. It's like cloud, like 10 years ago. Everything was cloud. And then now it's like, I think one of the jokes I always say with some of our guests, if you say AI 3 times in the mirror, like a Terminator shows up, it's just like everybody's talking about it. Everything's labeled AI this, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. But yeah, I mean, we've been doing like machine learning and, basically algorithm learning. And it's just like, but
behavior-based security. What's normal for me is not normal today. And the thing goes, hey, I noticed something. Those are rules that they're looking for, behaviors.
Output.
They call it AI.
Hey, AI, man, it's going to change the future.
Yeah.
But I will tell you this, ChatGPT, oh my gosh, I use it every day. I mean, just because I always joke, I'm like, I'm pretty good at math, but I really suck at spelling and grammar. And I got to tell you, like, when I'm just writing emails, it would take me forever. Now I write an email and I'm like, hey, make this email sound good, ChatGPT. And it's like, I'm like, oh, I must have sounded like an idiot for years. Sounds so smart, Here we go. There's your email. But
I just wonder if the graduates coming out of college I just wonder if the graduates coming out of college are going to be dumber because they're using ChatGPT for everything. Meaning dumber, they didn't learn anything. All I mean is they didn't learn anything, but they got their piece of paper.
Right. Like their skill set's going to be low for sure. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be an interesting, like, social.
Because I know they're using it.
I'm sure the government will come up with a grant to go out and measure that. But yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But if they may be like so effective at using it, we just got to hope the power never goes out one day, right? So.
Right. They won't have an answer. I don't know. I mean,
I don't know how we're going to cook this food
when
either.
People started texting, they can't spell anymore.
Well, oh my God. So I have 6 girls, and I got to tell you, listening, how just the way they talk, right? And it's just like they shorten everything, and I'm like, I barely understand half of what they're saying sometimes. And I'm just doing my best. I'm trying to keep up, girls. And like, Dad, come on now. Come on. But yeah, it's very interesting, especially with kind of the text-based language. And, I always joke, I'm like, it's like we've reverted back. We started painting symbols on caves, and then we had this very advanced language, and now we're going back to painting symbols in phones.
Symbols, all the emojis.
I know, right? Oh gosh, but of course they love it when I pick on them about that stuff. They're like, "Whatever, Dad, you're just old." But what was some of the other things? Oh, let's try our next. Let's try our next little
number
little
3
here. Number 3. All right, Cassie, what do you have for us?
Number 3 is 100 proof, finished with toasted oak steak.
This is the first one that didn't burn my nose just a little bit when I sniffed it out of the bottle.
Oh yeah, it's a lot lighter.
Some good legs on that too.
Oh, it's nice and sweet on the tongue. What do you think it is?
Man, I think I've had this one not too long ago.
If you get it, I'm just gonna.
It's in Yellowstone, is it?
Mm-hmm.
Is it?
Oh, that's I hadn't had it, so it's very
Are
nice.
you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Let me see the bottle.
Lanny.
Look at that.
Nice.
I just had this, but okay, so this is a little bit unfair because I just had some of this not too long
So
ago.
what's the story? Is it connected to Yellowstone, or is it just I'm thinking of the show, obviously, but
show. I don't know, Cassie. I don't know what the answer
just out
is,
of that
but-
area. Yellowstone's obviously an area.
7th generation family distillers.
This is good. I like it.
I like it too.
But
I had it for
but
Christmas.
it's not. The picture is
It's almost butterscotch.
Limestone
That's nice.
Branch Distillery.
I'll
Where's it at?
definitely buy that. I'll have to look for this.
Yeah, that one's good.
That's nice. You think it tastes
So
good?
my CEO had a bottle of this, and we were drinking some of this when it came down, and we had like a little party with the shareholders, and so I cheated a little bit just because I have had this just a couple weeks ago.
It's nice.
Now I am
You
interested.
tell Lanny he can't fool me.
It says more than 150 years in the making. Yellowstone Bourbon was established in 1872. I guess it honored the sprawling wonder of America's first national park. So I'm sure they were already.
Yeah,
And
so it's
then-
not connected to the show. It's just
No,
it's
but
out
now I'm sure they marketed like,
Oh.
I'll show you the set. And,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
you know,
Just-
they were like, yes.
Perfect timing, right? They're like,
So
our
they
ship
have
came
like
in with its name.
it's the finished
Yeah,
collection.
there's somebody on that board who's like, I told you that was the right name. I told you.
Uh-huh. That's right. Yellowstone. That's right.
That's
That's
hilarious.
good. I enjoyed that.
Well, so tell me what, and I'm gonna kind of force your hand. What, and you can't say AI. What emerging technologies do you believe will have the most significant impact in the next 3 years, not named AI?
Not named AI.
That's been everybody's answer.
Well, Nishant had a pretty good answer. He was talking
was
about
his?
autonomous cars.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh, so okay, even yeah. It
So it doesn't have to be IT necessarily. It could be any technology.
yeah. I'm just thinking about what we're doing, and we're moving from on-prem to everything in the cloud. And I had always said, I'll let the next CIO do that. I'm not doing it because this industry, oil and gas, is a little bit behind in that area, partly because they're quite large. They have quite a lot of systems.
Right.
We don't, but you as a smaller company compared to the others, the big oil and gas giants, you're like going, well, I'm not going first, but we're going to the cloud. Everything's going to the cloud. It's going to take us a bit to get there because we're going company by company. But I just think we're going to see so much more power with the data and analytics, using the tool sets that are there for us that we don't have to invest in, because I would if I was on prem. And then you got to keep up from a cyber protection and that sort of thing. So it's kind of riding the infrastructure of the environment that is out there in the cloud. And it might not be with one, it might be with many large groups, not just Google, not just AWS. It could be multiple things that you're doing business with. So that's what I'm looking forward to with this, where we're going in our projects. But I don't know. I'm sitting here thinking about that. The automated car is you see that, if you go out into Phoenix, you see that Waymo, I think is what it's called. And I see it, I'm like, there's nobody in that. Just the guy in the back. I don't know. I'm just not comfortable with it.
Yeah, so I drive so much. So there's part of me that's kind of like, man, that would be kind of cool. I'll tell you one of the things that has interested me, and I said this on our last episode, was drones. I've been very interested in drones, and not just like aerial drones, but just drones in general, and robots.
Drones dropping packages off and stuff like that. I don't know.
Well, there's just a dropping packages. So logistics will be affected by that. The military has been highly affected by drones. And I tell you what, if you want to get creeped out, just see some of the drone footage on YouTube from like the Ukraine war. It's just, it's like watching Black Mirror or something like that. Yeah. It's just really, really strange how much they've become pretty, they've become such a big play on the battlefield today. So, but I think some of those things will be pretty interesting. And I was talking to a friend of mine who is there is the science called agronomy, which is basically like the science of growing food and things like at large scale, right?
Yeah. And
it's just, and I think he was a chemist, and then he started doing agronomy. But he talks about, they a lot of these very large farms, people will be in there won't be anybody in there. These big John Deere tractors, they'll just
it's true now. That's true now.
It's autonomous. They just go out and and it does all the work, and it's all GPS driven, and it's very interesting stuff. Very interesting. So, but but of course, I think AI is going to be a huge. It's kind of funny. You talked about data analytics, right? And so we just started up a data team here at our company, and just kind of listening to those folks talk. My background's and listen, I was never the smartest guy at the table. I usually sat at the other end of the table, the shallow end. But even having some software engineering background, but listening to some of these data guys talk, I mean, I got to start Googling things like all the time. And I'm just like, what did he say there?
It's pretty amazing. Yeah, we've got a guy who's worked for us, and he's gone off to be a data scientist. He still works for us, but he's going to school full time at Georgia Tech, and then he's working for us. So we're going to have a data scientist when he graduates and comes back to us, and we'll have, by that time, I mean, when he's full back with us, we'll have prepped all this great environment in the cloud. We're doing DataSphere with SAP and all this kind of stuff. So it'll be a playground for him, right?
Yeah, hopefully, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we actually have. I don't know if you remember Dr. O'Gwen, who's on our staff. He's a data scientist amongst his other many talents. But yeah, those guys, they're sharp. Boy, they're very sharp. My daughter actually. And I know you guys said that you had a little one, or had a daughter, not a little one, but I mean, yes, I say little. You know, they're like 20 something now, and I still
they're little to us.
I know. They're like you're so young, and they're like, we have a kid now. I'm like, I guess so. That's a thing, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. One of my daughters is going in, and she's trying to figure out, does she want to go computer science or data science, and you know, I was kind of like, I'm like, hey, data science is pretty cool. You know, I mean, it's kind of a neat thing, and especially and you and you didn't talk about this as much, but one of our earlier CIO guests, she was talking about, you know, women in STEM, and so I was trying to get her to. I'm trying to push her in that, and I'm like, you know, you can go into STEM. And there's not. You could probably write your own ticket in many ways, you know. Yeah. So, but yeah, data science is very interesting. I think AI is going to help the data science a lot. We're starting to see that in some of the problems that we've been trying to solve rather for a particular state agency in one of the states that we work with. It's pretty interesting how quickly they can make connections that we just, you know, a normal analyst wouldn't make that connection. But anyway, what keeps you up at night when it comes to cybersecurity? How do you stay ahead of the threats?
I trust my team, and I don't boast publicly that we have this thing and nobody can break into us. I mean, I won't even do that to the board.
I don't want to be a target for anonymous, right?
But I do think our industry is a target. I do. And it's not, you know, because here's this interesting. The board would say, the board is, you know, part of the family, as well as some outside board members that own Ergon. And they go, we don't have any money. They ain't going to come after us. I go, you don't understand. They want to just take you down. It's like if I were first, somebody's going to throw something on me. You know what I mean? I just want to take you out because of what you do. And so we are a target. So it's not about the money. It's just about taking us out of commission, hurting us from that perspective. Right. And so they have been very good about giving us the leeway to stay in front of the technology that we need to protect ourselves. And we've also learned from Colonial Pipeline is an example of an attack that happened. It's like, okay, what was learned from that? How would we have done from it if it had happened to us? How would we have, and we try to learn from the things that came from it. And if we're not you know, in the position to have a protection, then we investigate that. And then of course we do cyber penetration testing every year. It used to be every 18 months to 2 years. And we do it every year now. And there's some other area that we're focusing on each year as we do it. But it's just trusting my team and trusting the company to give us the funds to support the tool sets that we need and let us continue to investigate in those areas. So when, you know, obviously there would be a worry. You can't have no worry about if we get hit, what are we going to do? But I feel good because we've had some small hits of, you know, maybe a target to a server and we were able to restore it back. We haven't had to be in any situation where there was a ransom or anything like that. But we've had some situations. What's interesting in my industry is we deal with some mom and pop companies. The mom and pop companies don't have an IT group, and so they have been infiltrated. And then because they're dealing with a larger company upstream, they're creating a story that then they try to come and get that person's money from us. And that has happened. So we've seen that. And there's nothing I can do for the downstream. If I know about it and I can give them a heads up, but we don't. We usually find out about it after they've already been infiltrated and they created the story. But that happens too. And that's sad because, they still may be using, they're just using free mail, for example, free email. And they don't really have the protections. They don't understand. They're not doing the basics. So that happens too. And that we see. And I'm always afraid those downstreams that don't have the protections, somehow they're going to gain enough information to get something greater from us.
Yeah.
We lose.
Yeah. It's always, there's so many attack vectors, right?
Yeah.
There's a vector that we don't even,
they're after our people. They really are. They're after our people to try to let them in so they can go in and create a situation where they can collect information and then either take you out or lock you out, whatever. And so it's about our people. So we really spend time also every year. Everybody has to take a cyber security course. And we send out spam stuff every month. And if you fail it multiple times, then you have to retake the course. So we're really serious about that. And sometimes it's funny. We'll send things out. I don't know who this guy is. I'm not clicking on that. And it's real. It's legit from us. But they're learning. That's good. I'd love for them to call and go, is this real?
Yes. I love seeing that. And so being a cybersecurity firm like we are, that's one of our things. We are like hype, like our team is like super paranoid and we love it. We're just like, thank you. They're like, hey, what is this right here? Like, no, it's okay. Did you click on look at the domain and all those things? And, but I can tell you the social engineering, you talked about social engineering, which is a good topic. And maybe we'll do like a full episode of just that one time with you. But, we have seen some just extremely, Cassie, about it, some extremely elaborate social engineering scams that, they'll start off, they'll come in and everyone thinks like, oh, they'll come in, they'll crypto lock our stuff. And so, they'll do that. They'll crypto lock and they'll ransomware or whatever. You have to go figure out how to pay them in Bitcoin. But sometimes they just sit there and they mine your data. And then one day you figure out that you've got all of this, FDI data or whatever is out there in the wild, right? But I'll tell you, like some of the more complicated ones is they'll come in, they'll gain access and they'll take over. We saw one where they took over the email of the procurement team. Yeah, the procurement team on the customers, and then they started sending emails out to manufacturers and said, "Hey, we need $250,000 in laptops." And so this manufacturer went to someone that we knew, and they ordered it, they shipped it, and they basically intercepted the shipment at the distribution center, and they made off with $250,000 worth of laptops. It's just ridiculous. Like, how well coordinated it is. And like they found the guy who like picked it up, but he had no idea because they were, it came from like a faceless, nameless person who paid him X number of dollars. It's just very, very interesting how kind of they're like well-oiled machines in some of these things. So, but for those of you out there, our listeners,
the PO, and then there's somebody on the phone. Like they even have all of that.
They can do all kinds of stuff. It's crazy,
right?
Because once they own those emails, right?
They create the story because they can go look and read everything. Yeah.
And you click on the domain and the domain's correct and everything because they actually have gone upstream and taken over the look. It's pretty interesting how how they do some of that. So definitely for our listeners out there, always be paranoid. Do you guys do any tabletop exercises over there, Ergon?
Yeah, we have. Usually, I mean, we've done it when in our cybersecurity insurance will want to, kind of do, it's not really an audit. It's like, hey, we have some questions and we want to do this exercise. So we've done that before, and that's been interesting too. Yeah. Yeah.
Those are pretty interesting. They're always cool when you can get like the other departments involved kind of at the same table. Yeah. And you start seeing a lot of blank faces. You're like, so this just got hit in maintenance. And they're like, what? Wait, I just thought I was here at the table just to not say anything, Yeah. Like, so where do you go next? So, it's, you see people kind of pucker up real quick, but man, again, for our listeners out there, tabletop exercises are definitely something that we encourage people to do because it really helps you kind of say, what would I do in this situation? Right. Well, thank you for kind of going through some of that. I've got some more questions here for the end, but I wanted to get us to our last bottle.
Okay.
And then bottle number 4. My goodness.
Bottle number 4 is 100 proof, and it's rum cask.
Oh, rum cask.
Rum cask. Okay.
Finished in rum cask.
I'm automatically starting to try to think who does rum cask.
I don't think I've had any that was rum cask, so
I think Jefferson makes a rum cask.
Oh, okay.
Oh, someone else makes a rum cask. I can't remember who it is. Let me taste it.
Has a lot of legs.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Look at that. Oh,
the color is much richer too.
Oh my goodness. That does have that's got a lot of taste to it.
It's bold.
It is bold. That's a good way.
Then to the nose, it has gingerbread, poached pear, fresh cut hay. Huh.
This one definitely burns my nose when I smell in.
The palate is toasted marshmallow, creme brulee.
I didn't get
coffee
that.
And toasted oak.
I get the oak. I get the toasted oak and maybe some of that. I like the fresh cut hay.
Really?
Who put that?
Did you pick up on that?
So
I like it.
I like it. It's a lot. It's bold. I think that was a good way to say it.
Fresh compared to the others, it has more a full-bodied flavoring on the tongue. Does.
It says on the finish, it has a tobacco, clove, and cocoa seasoned oak with a long honey finish.
Wow, that's a lot of flavors, isn't it?
That's a lot of words.
Tobacco and hay.
Tobacco.
I was like, does that really say fresh cut hay?
Yep.
It's like when I was out burning my field to get ready for the next year's planting. I don't know. I don't know what it is, Cassie. Let me see.
All right, y'all ready for the reveal?
I am.
It's not Jefferson, is it?
No,
Yellowstone, a different one.
Yes, it's it has a special finishes collection, and this is we had the toasted and then the rum.
So wait,
rum cask.
So the first one was toasted. We liked it. And then this one is
the rum
cask. Nice. Okay.
I like it.
I'm definitely going to have to add some Yellowstone to my bourbon collection.
Well, thank you, Cass. Yeah, thank you. Oh, wow. That's a fancy little box.
It is.
He didn't like this one. He did not approve.
Yeah.
It is It's just bourbon whiskey select. It didn't have anything that finished it.
Nothing special. Just
Just
use
straight
it for an old fashioned.
bourbon, huh?
Yeah, he wasn't impressed.
Man, I got to tell you, this is like one of those where I'm like, do I like it or do I not? I don't know. Like, it's kind of like when you go in, you're like, is that smell good or bad? I don't know. Hey, friend, hey, is this good or bad smell? I don't know. But I think I like it, but I really like the other Yellowstone better.
I do too. The other Yellowstone is.
I like the other one a lot better.
That's a great highlight for today.
Yeah, that was a good.
So, what was y'all's favorite?
I think that the Yellowstone. I mean, I love Dareringer, obviously, the rabbit hole. But I think that the Yellowstone was a new thing for me, and it tasted so nice, so smooth.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that'll give me number one. But boy, I'm with you. I love that red label. I forgot its name was Dareringer. I've always called it the red label
rabbit hole. I don't know why they called it Dareringer. I just love the whole rabbit hole thing. It just reminds me of Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, they've got the little rabbit on there. Cute.
Yeah, it's fun. So let me
love it.
Let me ask you a couple questions before we jump off here. These will be a little bit more fun, hopefully. You're in high school. Who was your celebrity crush? Who was the name that you wrote on the back of your notebooks?
Oh my gosh, high school. Oh.
It was like last week, right?
Yeah, right. Oh gosh, I don't know. I mean, it would have to be musicians. You know, like
I mean, you said Bon Jovi earlier. So.
Yeah, I did say that. It'd probably be like probably Steve Perry with Journey was probably one of my favorites. Bob Seger, but I mean, like it was. You know, I know what I'm thinking about. When I was a lot younger, everybody loved Leif Erikson and the Partridge Family, David Partridge or whatever. No, David Cassidy. No.
Listen, so my daughters, right? They really got into vinyls. Because I guess like the younger generations get into vinyl records. And so you mentioned Leif Erikson. Yeah. Or whatever his name is. Yeah. I just remember Leif. I don't remember last name. Anyway, they were talking about him probably a month ago. They're like, oh yeah. And he did it seemed like he did a bunch of like covers of like the big songs out there. But yeah, I bet if I go over there to their vinyls, they've got that. But yeah, it's crazy how like vinyls are coming back. Like it's just weird that nostalgia.
Can they find them? Are they still making them?
I don't know if they're making them, but they go to, there's like flea markets. They love to go to flea markets. And
so they're listening to older music though, because the newer music's not being made on vinyl.
Right. Well, some of it is.
Is it?
Yes, they're making things on vinyl now because there's this new market for vinyl records. So yeah, they love it, and it's fun too because I'm like, hey, I remember when I used to listen to that, and then CDs and tapes, and tapes didn't come back. So, but vinyls did.
What tapes? 8 tracks and cassettes.
Oh, I've got some 8 tracks from my dad.
Like I don't have any 8 tracks, but I remember the you had to get the pencil to turn the cassettes.
Yep.
Because it would spin out. You're like, oh God, it didn't break. Thank you.
What just happened? Okay, we're good. We're good. I've got to listen to Michael Jackson. All right. But, here's a good one. Name one interesting factoid about yourself that none of your coworkers, and I mean, I guess you've got some coworkers who've been with you for
a long time,
that know about you.
Oh. No, they know that one. I don't know. I can tell you the one thing that surprises most people when they learn that I have a hobby that I do. I sew. And they're like, you sew? I say, yes. I'm making a quilt right now for my daughter, her baby. And they're like, you sew? I mean, like, you're too impatient. You're too, just always go, 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 go. And so when people learn that about me, my coworkers, some of them know it, but I'm saying when most people learn that about me, they cannot believe it. It's therapeutic for me. So I love to sew.
I was about to say, I wonder if like slowing it down and having to do something methodical is therapeutic.
Yeah.
We got every year we get puzzles for Christmas.
I love jigsaw puzzles.
Oh my gosh, right? And so just kind of sitting down and just slowing the world down around you and just doing that and getting into something different. Yeah, it's
one thing I've learned about me is like we'll be doing the jigsaw puzzle, and I'm like, no drinking. Because I can't think. My brain won't work right, and it makes me mad. I get anxious over it. I'm like, no drinking while I'm doing the jigsaw puzzle. It's serious business here, You're really
gotta lock in,
brain.
kids. Lock in. Put the drinks away.
Well, I'm just saying it's kind of like a thing I like to do in the winter when it's ugly outside or it's in between, when you're in the winter and most people might think, well, you'll have a glass of wine with it. I'm like, I found it's like, no, I can't focus and I'm going to win. So I can't win if I can't think right. And I can't think right when I've got that drink in my mind.
Fair enough. Let me hit you with another one of these. If you could host an intimate dinner party with guests from both the past and the present, anybody, who are 3 people, and you cannot name a relative, who are the 3 people you'd invite?
Do most people pick their relatives that have passed away? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
I
actually had to modify it. Yeah, I had to modify this question because of that.
Yeah. Honestly, I think would be great table talk, Elon Musk.
Oh.
Just from the things that he's involved in, and where he's going, where he's been, that kind of thing. Just picking his brain, I think that would be very interesting. So I guess I'm thinking on a technology line here. What would be interesting table talk?
Sure.
Sorry, but Donald Trump. Come on.
That would be an interesting evening, right?
Yeah, it would for sure. And one more.
On the Donald Trump thing, I'd love to just sit and hang out with him for an evening.
Yeah.
He doesn't, I'd love to just talk with him about stuff where he's not having to be in front of the camera and like just get Donald Trump raw. That might be a double-edged sword. I may want to hear that, but
he's a very successful man, regardless of politics and where you are
Absolutely.
with it. I just think he's been very successful. So just talking to him about that from that perspective could be so cool.
Right. So basically what you're wanting to do is have the dinner down in Mar-a-Lago because you have both, you have Trump and Elon down there probably.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Who's number 3?
And you got are they all together at the same dinner?
Oh yeah, we're all at the same
table. That's the tough part is what makes the bookend that makes it right, or do you throw somebody in that would be a kicker on the other side, but still interesting conversation. Right. Steve Jobs. How about Steve Jobs?
Oh, that'd be a good one.
Yeah. Could be a different perspective, but it would be an interesting conversation. And we'd have to come up with some very creative questions so we could have good table talk.
Yeah, I'd love to see Jobs and Musk talking. I think that would be an interesting conversation there for sure.
Yeah.
Here's my last one, and then we'll call it quits for you. And thank you so much for the time today. I really appreciate it.
Great.
And your husband, thank you so much for. Hopefully, he got to have some new.
He's still with us.
Yeah, he is. Got to have some good bourbon. Hopefully.
What was your favorite bourbon?
The Rabbit Hole.
Oh, the Rabbit Hole. He went with that one. Okay.
Old Faithful, right?
Yeah.
What word of wisdom? And again, our hope is that we'll be able to reach a lot of up and coming IT leaders in this podcast. What word of wisdom would you like to give to up and coming IT professionals?
I think what we're seeing is less people are choosing IT. I don't know why. Is it the generation and what motivates them and what interests them? But I know that with my own daughter, she chose healthcare, and I think healthcare is very admirable. But she's worked really hard and she's had some struggles. And I said, and she even got her master's in it. And I said, if you had just graduated with IT or not necessarily computer science, business, same path as me, business, and then went over into IT or an MIS degree, you could have made more money and be more, I think, successful for her with just a bachelor's. And so I think it's overlooked. And I think that there's a
Yeah.
lot of satisfaction that I get from knowing that to understand what my business users need and how I can deliver
Mhm.
and solve their problems with business technologies, and know that I was a part of that. It's just satisfaction of success of giving back to them and making their world easier and more successful. Because again, you connect what you do to what your company makes and how they make money. And when you do that, you understand your contribution. And I just think that that's is very it's satisfactory for me. I love that piece of it. That's the give back, I guess, if you want to say to your company. But I think that this is an overlooked industry and that it is very rewarding. And there's so many modalities that you can go into in IT. When you say STEM, there's so many areas that you can
Right.
go into. So start off, like you were talking about your daughter, start off in an area and you may go, wait a minute, I see there's a connection over here. I like this a little better. Well, jump over there.
Yep.
You're still in STEM, you're still in technology. Jump over there because these things connect. And that's part of how I've made my path where I said I zigzagged to the top for the CIO role is I kept
Right.
connecting and stepping stones from job to job.
Right.
So, I mean, to me, I get opportunities to come and speak. I'm going to speak to some young ladies in high school for STEM. There's a local group that started Women in Technology, and they want me to come speak to them. I don't know
Okay.
what I'm going to tell them because I'm sitting here going, they won't understand the role I'm in. They won't. But I've got to think about how I make the connection for them to say this is a great industry to work in, and you can progress in it if you're willing to, dig in a little bit. You can be successful in this space. Not only women, I mean, young men too, because again, it's not, for some reason, this industry is not being chosen.
No, I agree with you. But I will say, like on the point, and again, I've got 6 daughters, so I'm a little bit biased when I'm trying to. I'm in IT, got 6 daughters. I'm trying to push them away, trying to push them, because they're like, "Don't push me, Dad," and I'm like, "I know, but come on, if you can do it." But yeah, it's I do think that there's an opportunity for women in this particular industry. It has been, and I tell this story to a lot of people. We have some headhunters out of Atlanta, and they're a female headhunter group, right? And we were looking for a very specific type of engineer one time, and we got like 6 candidates in. Our CTO at the time said, "Hey, all these candidates are men. I'd like to get at least maybe a couple females in, just so we can at least keep it a little bit diverse." And and I got to tell you what, the ladies there guffawed. I mean, they laughed at us. They're like, "Oh," and then they stopped laughing. And they're like, "You're serious, right?" I'm like, "Yes, we're serious."
Why?
Like a couple of these,
because you're asking for some female candidates to be put in. Are they laughing because they can't find them? They're laughing because you're serious. You want us to find some females.
No, they laughed because they couldn't find them. They told us, they're like, "Yeah," they're like, "No, oh, you're serious?" They're like, I don't know that we can find. We'll take a couple more weeks." And they spent 2 weeks. They came back and we couldn't find a female candidate in this particular discipline. And so, and again, I've taken that story back to my girls, and I'm like, listen, people want to be able to hire diverse groups for whatever reason.
Right.
And, there's not a lot of females in the industry that I work in. And I think that there is desire to have that. And so anyway,
it's opportunity. I mean, even for the
it's
CIO
opportunity.
role, I don't know what the percentage is now, but when I first became a CIO, only 9% of CIOs were women. It might be a little higher now, 11 or 12 maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the numbers, but yeah, I mean, that probably tracks. Yep, that probably tracks.
Yeah.
But again, being a dad of a bunch of girls, you know, I'm always kind of looking at those things. But man, maybe it's because I've had all the other bottles. But this bottle's starting to feel a little bit better. This isn't too bad now. But thank you so much, Jana. I appreciate it.
It's been great. Thank you.
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. We may have some topics earlier, and we might do some panel discussions later on. But love to have you back on the show. Thank you so much, and happy birthday, sir. I appreciate you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you for listening to the NSI podcast. Don't forget to hit that subscribe.